Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of Death Space Filling the Void. Oh man, my fiance Jamie had me check out this crazy interesting movie. It's on Apple TV. It's called Swan Song with Mahershala Ali. Apologies if I'm saying that wrong. I'm terrible with names that I'm reading and haven't really heard said out loud. But he's a good actor. He was in Green Book and he's got like 2 Oscars. He was in what's that detective show on HBO? He was on True Detective. That's what it's called. He did a season of that. He was very good in that too. He's got like 2 Oscars already. Leo had to sleep inside a bear to get his first one. Anyway, the movie's premise, and this doesn't give anything away, is that he's dying, and the movie's set in the future where they figured out how to clone humans with all their memories and all that, exact copy. So in the case that you're dying, you could have the clone take over your life and you would go to this retreat to die, but you couldn't tell your family that this was happening. And so it would seamlessly happen. They would never know. And it raises an interesting question. It's like, would you do that? You know, if you have kids or something, it would mean that they would be growing up without a parent, potentially. And of course, people would miss you and stuff like that. But I feel like for me, and I couldn't do it. It seems dishonest, even though it would cause pain for my loved ones. But I guess I'm being selfish. I would just want them to know what happened to me. To die alone and not have anyone know that you died. It's kind of sad. It's kind of a sad way to go. But maybe they're happier. Because they still have you, right? It is you. There's a certain point where they have all the memories too. The same as their original copy. Well, if you've seen it and you have a take, I'd be very interested to hear how if people would do this or not. Well, this is the season 3 finale. Can't believe it. It's already 31 episodes. There will be more episodes. I'm going to be doing I think I have 10 or 12 already recorded for season 4. So I'll have to get my little fingers together and start editing. I don't know why I did that in an accent. So I'll look out for that. And for this season finale, decided to do something a little bit different. I'm very excited to introduce you to a good friend, Mary-Alice McNab, who I know through the New York improv scene. She's hilarious and wonderful and thoughtful. If you've been listening, you've heard ads for her company, the Cardist Studio. Stay tuned. If you haven't, you'll hear it, and it's an amazing company, and I fully recommend them because Mary-Alice does everything from the heart. So yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit more, a little bit story driven, a little bit sillier, and so I asked Mary-Alice to do this with me, where did some research on some weird deaths that happened, and figured we'd tell each other the story. We haven't heard each other's stories yet, so our reactions will be authentic. Well, I'm so excited to introduce you to Mary-Alice. If you're liking the show, please remember to rate and review it, whatever platform you're listening on. And please check the show out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All right. Hope you enjoy the episode, and I'll see you after. Mary-Alice McNab, it's so wonderful to see your face.
Likewise, Patty!
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of a different episode here for Death Space Filling the Void. This is going to be the season 3 finale, and I've asked my good friend Mary-Alice McNab to come on and talk about weird deaths.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Very chipper for deaths, but yeah, it is what it is. A big part of this podcast is that everyone is going to die, and just being more comfortable with discussing it and being more aware of it. So Mary-Alice, I'm so thrilled to have you here. We know each other from an improv team called Lawrence.
Lawrence, we are official Larrys. We're a couple of Larrys chatting to one another.
Yeah, and Mary-Alice's improv, I feel like every improviser has like one or two go-to moves. Like mine might be like occasionally just having a deep voice, but yours is an extra enthusiastic high kick that may come out of nowhere. And people love it. The audience loves it.
I can't help myself. I get excited the legs go up. Read that however you want. I didn't intend for it to be sexual, but I like to kick. I like to swing a high kick when I'm excited. So
True, you do it off stage too. That is just a little bit of the person behind the improviser on stage doing that.
indeed.
Background for the listeners, we don't really know the other person's story, so I'm curious, and this is going to be fun to kind of react to what you've come up with. How did you find it coming up with weird deaths?
It was a fun and strange Google search. There are a lot of very strange ways that people have died, comical ways. I think that I was looking for things that were on the funny, strange side, because death is so, it's tragic. It's heartbreaking. Regardless of how I might perceive a story, somebody has lost a family member, somebody has lost a friend, and that is very sad. And so I'm not trying to make light of people's real suffering, but get some chuckles at like the circumstances that life puts us in, like how people can die in truly the most absurd fashion, and just to tell a story about it. And you wanted me to do historical stuff. You said historical weird deaths, and I basically focused on the weird, and my stuff is not very historical. It has happened in the past, but the recent past.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think like the interesting and weird aspect does come from, like you were saying, like the just bizarre circumstances or really poor coincidences that can lead to death. And that's funny that yours were more recent because, well, without giving it away, mine go way back. I feel like I'm starting at the beginning almost and going from there.
That's funny. Okay, well, this will be interesting.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, okay. I won't jump into some of the crazy deaths, like torture stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
what am I about to hear?
Well, I'm ready to get started with my first one. All right, Mary-Alice, we're going to go back to ancient Greece with the story of Aeschylus.
Okay.
Aeschylus was born in 525 BC in ancient Greece. He was a Greek dramatist. He was a Greek dramatist. I'm going to keep all that in.
He was a drama queen. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the funny thing. I looked up what it was, and it's a playwright who focuses only on drama and not comedy. It's like, don't you dare think that I would lower myself to make jokes on stage.
Wow, that is sad. It's like, I would never crack a joke. I'm a serious man.
Take me seriously, all right? Yeah, there were people. I went to film school for grad school, and there were definitely people who brought that attitude. And it's like, how do you have that attitude at film school? You don't know what you're going to end up doing.
You don't know what you're going to end up doing over here.
Yeah. We're already into the New Yorker accent now.
Oh, that is so funny. Yeah, people are they take things too seriously sometimes, and we got to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah. Well, especially the way this fine sir met his match, it is certainly a bit laughable. But so he wrote 90 plays that we know about, all of them presumably so serious. Not one funny thing happened. Yeah. He's also referred to as the father of tragedy. Not a great nickname, but it also alludes to his death.
Okay.
One of his contributions to his craft was that before Aeschylus, plays consisted of one man and a chorus. The chorus was there to set the tone or warned of something, kind of like an internal feeling or a background character. Now, Aeschylus changed all that by adding another character, which seems obvious, or maybe not. What if I just put someone else on the stage?
That is mind-blowing. So not only was he only writing drama, he was basically, I'm grateful to him to change the game, because before him, all of plays were just one dude getting dramatic on stage with people echoing. It was church. It was church.
Yeah.
It was basically church. But I can understand, like, a Black Baptist church where the preacher is getting all fire and brimstone and the choir is like him or breaking into song at like the right time. That is actually very entertaining and engaging. So I can see why people would come to the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Except it's very limited in scope, and like sometimes the man on stage can't hear certain things, or it's just having two people talk is really, you don't get Citizen Kane without Aeschylus.
No. And it gets a little exhausting to have someone honestly just talk at you.
Yeah.
So thank God he brought in another character, changing the game.
Well, which is funny because that's exactly what I'm doing for this episode of my podcast. Normally, I am just blabbing an intro and then interviewing somebody, but now we have two people.
He's getting meta. This is very good. This is, look at it, folds in on itself.
Exactly. Aeschylus is also credited with being the first to present works in trilogy format.
Aeschylus was a smart man. Trilogy is just good marketing. You know, if your first one slaps, you do another one. You get the audience coming back for round 2.
Yeah, it's all about that marketing money.
Get it.
But before becoming a dramatist, I finally mastered that word, I think, Aeschylus actually fought in a few wars. In 490 BC, he stood at Marathon defending Athens against the invading Persian army, which is interesting to me to think of this person who's well known for their works with a pen or a quill or whatever they had back then, also like being a rough and tumble person fighting in wars. But I guess if Tolkien fought in World War I guess anybody could do it, right? I don't know why I'm projecting that every person that's a good writer is also just like really just locked in their room or something like that.
Well, they're if a person's a writer, they're classically a nerdy type, you would think. Did he fight in a war and then turned to writing? He was probably like, listen, I don't want to see another person again. It's just going to be me and my papers. I feel safe this way. It's like, I can understand that.
Right.
No, I can't understand the opposite, where it's just like, I'm a playwright. Oh, now I want to go murder some people. Like,
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
understand the flip side.
That's true. Just being like, I'm going to take me and my washboard abs, because everyone had washboard abs seemingly based on the statues, and I'm going to write some things now.
That's true.
It's true. It's just a fact. Yeah.
These are just facts. This is an educational podcast.
Yeah. Following the war, Aeschylus began writing and winning awards for his plays. Though,
there we go.
Exactly. Yep. I'm dropping the sword, picking up my quill, and I'm going to rub it all over my lovely abs here. Though he was again called to military service to stand up to Xerxes, which is the guy from the movie 300.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen because I get scared of violence.
Well, if you're scared of violence, I feel like the movie 300 is top of the top. It's just like gush, just red blood everywhere. Sorry, she's waving her hands, being like, stop it.
No, it's fine. When watching Game of Thrones, I had what I called my blood pillow that I would hold in front of the screen and just be looking at my pillow. So we couldn't start watching it without me having the blood pillow at hand. I, of course, would then be asking Scott to tell me exactly what was happening. Like I heard it. I heard the gush and just the sound effects of murder are bad.
Yeah. So you must have just enjoyed the intro and then stood on your pillow for 90 minutes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Though after that, it was all writing and all success. That a little cult that he got into a little bit of trouble with.
Leave it for a drama queen to tangle with a cult. Why'd he do it? Why did he do it? What was this cult?
So the cult was called the Cult of Demeter and Persephone.
Uh-huh.
And it's based on the Greek myth of Persephone, who was abducted from her mother by the king of the underworld, known as Hades.
Okay, this is a story I should probably know. I'm sure I heard it once, but I don't remember.
Yeah, back then the gods were all like sneaking out of their posts and like taking people, or like Zeus was turning into a bull to have sex with women. And it's all that. I mean, it's very basic stuff. Like either you're being dragged to the underworld or you're having sex with some kind of animal, which Zeus was really into, really into.
Wow. I mean, it feels like it's just written by a shepherd, because who is out there with lots of time on their hands and are surrounded by animals? They're going to write this whole Zeus story.
It's just like an ancient Greek paperback novel of just
Yes.
animals
Yes.
and hooking up with animals. Well, like any good cult, it was outrageously secretive, though they did supposedly let anyone in, granted they met two qualifications.
Okay.
One, they could speak Greek. And two, they've never murdered anyone, which I'm assuming war doesn't count because Aeschylus definitely killed a few people in those wars.
The qualifications for this cult are ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
Did a middle schooler write? These are the cult of a tween. It's like, hey, very secretive. You want to be in our club? Good, you're in. Have you ever murdered anyone? No? Great. Well, what if the only rules are don't tell anyone about this? What if I do tell someone about this? Well, we can't kill you or we're out of the cult. So just please don't tell anyone. It's like a pretty please cult. This is so, it's like you just want to be in the it club. It's like, okay, you're in the cult just by asking. Oh, wait, we have to check one thing. Have you murdered anybody? No, you're in. These are the most honest murderers in ancient Greece.
Right, yeah.
Yes, I have murdered somebody. We don't care about that. You're out of the cult. We don't care who you killed. We just want you to be out of the cult now. This is so funny. Okay, great.
Yeah, you can murder someone, but you can't lie about it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, so they have very honest murderers.
Yeah. Simpler times.
Simpler times. And was he in the cult? Or
yes, he was in the cult.
Nice.
A good thing about this cult for members was that they supposedly offered insights into the afterlife. Like they had ideas of what happens after you die, and you had to be a member to get that information, which is pretty appealing and not unlike. I'm not going to do it. And not unlike some religions.
Listen, anyone who has secret ideas or thoughts about like what happens after we die, it's an age-old question. We all want to know. So like whoever has the skinny on it, you want to be in that club.
Of course. Yeah.
Tell me what happens. I'm in.
This story gets interesting because he refers to himself as a dramatist. And I may not believe it after you hear this. And you may not either after you hear this. I don't know if he's the one who accused Aeschylus, but Aristotle, of all people, says that Aeschylus was accused of, I couldn't find the pronunciation of this, aspia. And so that was a criminal charge in ancient Greece for desecration or mockery of divine objects. So allegedly, make sure I say allegedly so, Aeschylus doesn't sue me. Aeschylus mocked the cult's practices in a play he wrote. And that was a big problem for him. Remember, not a comedian, no mocking, no satire, nothing like that. And
wait, he mocked the cult that he was involved in? He's a moron. And
yeah.
Isn't that breaking the number one rule of the cult? Don't tell our secret.
Don't laugh at us.
Don't laugh at us.
Don't you laugh at us. Come on, no, it's serious. No, this is a serious cult.
This is it. Well, he's like, trust me, I'm a serious dramatist. They would never laugh. I'm making an honest, dramatic representation of a secret. I'm not telling it. It's just a play.
Yeah, no, that was so serious what I wrote. I meant that.
I meant
it.
What happened?
Well, a good old-fashioned ancient Greek mob dispatched for Aeschylus, but he was able to hide in a theater to avoid detection.
Smart man. He was able to hide in the one place they'd go looking for him, the dramatist in the theater.
Exactly.
He's like, they'll never find me here. And what are they going to do when they find him? Spank him? They can't kill him or they're out of the club.
Right.
Their church rules are shh and no killies. Okay, we're keeping the secret and no stabby. That's it.
I'm really gonna come down on him. But where did he go? Did he go to the bank or the theater? Like the theater's too obvious. He'd know that we would know.
Yeah, hidden in plain sight. He's like, I'm a tree.
Yeah.
I don't know if they didn't have two people in plays back then. I don't know if they had sets. So like maybe he couldn't pretend he's a tree on stage. Who knows?
Just stand there silently. Well, it's like drifting into like a Bugs Bunny cartoon now. Just like he put on lipstick and like put on a dress and like, hi there,
Yes.
boys. Like, and they all
Yes.
fell in love and just kept going.
Yeah, his disguise completely worked. He's like, I had him fooled because
Yeah.
I'm an actor. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna stop interrupting. I'm loving this.
No,
Okay,
this is good.
Did they catch him? Did they get him?
Well, they eventually did catch up to him. Okay.
Okay.
And he was put on trial for his actions. This was seen as very serious stuff. But the court seemingly had like a very open mind because as a part of his defense, his lawyer, who was also his brother, showed
Smart.
the court, yeah, right, hire your brother.
Save some money. It's a bargain. Smart man.
This is why every family needs a lawyer in the family. It just got to get one of them in there, and then you could do whatever the hell you want.
You have their number on speed smoke signal, or however they sent messages in ancient Greece.
Yeah,
he's on speed dial.
You put on your sandals and you jog, and you tell somebody.
Listen, we've got my brother on speed jog. It's fine. We've got the fastest
on his
runner
way. Yeah. So his brother showed the court a hand injury Aeschylus got while fighting the Persians, and talked about his military background and bravery. And the jury just let him go.
Wow. They were suckers. He's like, look, he's got this boo-boo and he's a patriot. So what are you going to do? This person has an owie and they've served our country.
Yep.
Let him free. I think the defense actually still works these days.
It probably does. Yeah. If the jury convicts him, does that mean they hate the troops? You guys don't hate the troops, do you?
Do you hate people? Do you either hate the troops or you hate people with disabilities? So you guys decide which form of monsters you're going to hate. But you saw his hand, right? That was a cut. He clearly had a cut. He's a wounded soldier. Now let him free.
And you guys, so either you're a monster or a monster. Decide which monster.
Yes, precisely.
Well, after the trial, I mean, that really cramped Aeschylus' style. So he leaves Greece for Sicily.
Oh, run.
Yeah. Right? Get out of there.
Do they have theaters to hide in Sicily? I hope so, because that's his only place.
Yeah. So there's some debate about the validity of this, considering this happened in 458 BC. There's a lot of time for the story to turn into like a big fish scenario. So I just want to say that. But
understood.
At the time, Aeschylus was staying outside because of a prophecy that he would be killed if he was inside.
This guy was a chump. He's involved in a cult, and he's super paranoid that he's not going indoors because of a prophecy. He believes prophecy. I mean, I guess if you're primed to believe this cult, you're primed to believe all the prophecies too.
That's true, right? If this is true, what else is true?
Yes. All right. Okay.
It's funny how like prophecies were like, where would you even find a prophecy? I mean, the New York Post,
yes.
Like page 6.
These are honest. It's a town of honest murderers and very truthful prophesiers because they believe everything.
Right. Well, right, okay. So he's staying outside, out there writing a very serious play. When the legend has it that an eagle carrying a tortoise notices Aeschylus's bald head and dropped the tortoise onto him, killing him.
What?
Yeah, the aim alone of that eagle.
And the strength. Aren't tortoises the huge ones?
They can be. I mean, Franklin, my tortoise, is about the size of a fist.
Oh, okay. You know what? I guess you got to start small. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
It was a very reasonably sized tortoise that this eagle grabbed. That is so ironic.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. That is Mother Nature's literally slapping the head.
Yeah. It's not uncommon practice for birds of all kinds to drop crustaceans, shellfish, turtles from high up, cracking their protective casing, which allows them to eat what's inside, of course. But it's just this man faced angry mobs. He fought in 2 wars and then was killed by a tortoise.
Oh my gosh. If you were only going to be about drama in your life, Mother Nature's going to get the last laugh. She's like, no, things are funny. This is how you could die. This is a way that you could die. And in the ultimate irony, I'm going to kill you with an animal that has made itself into its own home. So like you're afraid of going indoors, I'm going to kill you with something that carries its own indoors with it. You're going to be killed by a tortoise. And Mother Nature, of course, is from New York. She has an accent. You're going to be murdered by something that is its own shelter.
I also looked at it like an ancient Greek mob hit with like some very poor cover-up story. It's like the mob finally found him, caught him up, made him sleep with the fishes, and then, I don't know, a turtle made him, killed him. An eagle dropped a turtle on his head, and he's dead now.
That's genius, because didn't they train falcons back then? It could have been a mob hit. It could have been, the cult could have done a hit on him. They trained a falcon to pick up a tortoise. It was a sharp shooting falcon, because just like you said, the aim alone, you'd have to get the trajectory, you'd train this thing. But you know what? They had a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, I love the like mob ancient Greek person who's like, hey, little Tony, we need you to train this hawk to drop this tortoise on this guy's head here. All right? Kabish.
Kabish. Okay. We're going to use nature. We're going to get him out of the picture.
Well, that is the story of Aeschylus.
Aeschylus. Wow. Well, that escalated fast. Sorry, I have to say it. It doesn't work at all. That didn't escalate fast. We knew he was going to die. It was a slow escalation. But I love it. Okay, I have something that is very not ancient, but old. And it is also about, let's say, Mother Nature striking back.
All right. If you're listening to this podcast, one of the reasons may be because you're interested in having your death or a loved one's death be celebrated in a different way, to think outside the box a little bit. I personally really like the idea of that. And that's why I'm partnering with a company called Spirit Vessel, who creates these guided, personalized ceremonies for yourself or a loved one. Well, just to give you a little bit of background, Spirit Vessel is a sister-owned company that is bringing sacred ceremonies around death back into the home in a beautiful and meaningful way. I love it. I love the idea of making it more personal. And I've experienced wakes and funerals that it felt so cold, and wish that I could inject a little bit more personality and more storytelling to help the grieving process. Spirit Vessel has these handcrafted ceramic urns and personalized celebration of life ceremony packages that can be done in the comfort of your home or through webcasting services. Whether you're grieving the loss of a loved one, preparing for an imminent death, or taking steps to plan for your own death, Spirit Vessel provides resources to help you respond from your heart with creativity and courage. So basically, you can design your own creative and personalized intimate ceremony that represents the person who you're celebrating. And there's also tips to help people who are grieving going forward. So whether you're interested in the celebration of life ceremony packages, or you'd like to check out or order one of their handcrafted ceramic urns, which are so cool, by the way, check out Spirit Vessel. And if you do order anything, feel free to use the promo code DEATHSPACE for free shipping. If you're like me, it can be really hard to come up with the words to say in a card. I know, I always laugh too, because talk about 10 years of improv training down the drain. Not being able to come up with anything. But that's especially so. I don't know why I can say especially. There you go. Perfect. I can say it. During times of grief, or when someone loses someone. But thankfully, there's the Cardist studio. There are no words to comfort in a time of deep loss, but you send a card because you care. Yeah, because as we've learned through this podcast, sending something, saying anything, is better than saying nothing. The Cardist studio creates your message, writes it in your card, and mails it for you. See? They'll help you out. You have the intention, the Cardist has the words, bing, bang, boom. All you do is pick the card and tell why you're sending it. No anxiety, all care. For a message from your heart, but not your hands. Just sit back and enjoy your relationships. You know, you don't want to have that awkward feeling like, was that too much? Did I say too much? Am I talking too much? As I'm literally talking too much? As opposed to figuratively talking too much, Pat. All right. My inner voice is kind of mean to me. TheCardistStudio.com, thoughtful, just got easy. And better yet, you can use the promo code DEATHPOD one word, for 10% off all orders. You ever lie in your resume? Huh? Look at me. Look at me when you're lying. No, you should never do that. That's a terrible idea. But it can be daunting to look at a job listing, see everything that you have and things that you probably don't have. But we can fix that with My Software Tutor. My Software Tutor offers 3 levels of real-time Zoom-based courses with a live instructor. So I'm going to keep you on task. They've seen it, they've heard it, they've seen the resumes, they know the holes, but they're here to help. They'll deliver practical, functional business skills in a friendly and supportive environment. It'd be funny if it really wasn't a supportive environment. Like, when are you going to understand this? Of course, that's not the case. That's just the anxiety or reliving fear dreams we had as children. These courses will increase your marketability. The job market couldn't be better right now. So it's a perfect time to invest in yourself and improve that resume. Whether you're an employee, job seeker, consultant, or contractor. You can sign up for these classes at mysoftwaretutor.com and use the promo code POD20 to save 20% off all registrations. Would you look at that? All right. Enjoy that new job.
This is the shallowly historical death of David Grundman. And because I want to be a good little researcher, credits for this information are an article from the Arizona Republic newspaper by Ward Harkavy, the Phoenix New Times, they don't give a byline, good old Wikipedia, and the Austin City Lounge Lizards website.
All right.
You'll hear more about this. Join me on the journey of nature striking back. This is a tale of a killer cactus.
Ooh.
Picture it. It's a Thursday afternoon, early February in Phoenix, Arizona. The winter temperature in these parts is a dry and extremely temperate low 70s. People must be going stir crazy with this moderate weather. 2 roommates decide to seek an adventure in the desert. They grab a 16 gauge shotgun, jump in a car and drive for 40 minutes, landing just 2 miles off the highway in a section with a bunch of cacti. It's 1982. There are no cell phones. It's also 3:30 in the afternoon, and these dudes are in their late 20s. So I'll risk saying they're a couple of jobless geniuses.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but judging by what their idea of fun is, I don't think these 2 are in early retirement for great business ideas.
Oh man, you're really setting this up. It's like, I feel like you're walking me into like a Jerry Springer episode here. All right. Well, all right. Well, what do they do?
Okay. This couple of ding dong sandwiches decides to go cactus plugging, which is a practice. Yes, I had to Google what the heck is cactus plugging. It's you plug a cactus full of lead. Is basically where it comes from. So you shoot up a cactus, or you can slice it, drain it, and stuff it with dynamite to blow it up.
Oh my gosh. Hey, do you live in the desert? Do you not have cows to go cow tipping? Well, we have cactuses here. We can blow those up and push those over.
Exactly. I can totally understand the appeal of shooting a cactus or like blowing one up, but I don't like to destroy living things. But you know, you're like, okay, it's a plant, it doesn't feel anything. Sure. But the problem with these geniuses is that the cactuses they chose to destroy are the protected saguaro cacti, which are native to the Sonora Desert. Arizona loves them. They are the cactuses that you think of when you see cartoon cactuses, like the 3-pronged thing.
Wile E. Coyote kind of background. Okay.
Yes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, like Raphael's like psi weapons or whatever those little things are.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are those ones. So they are native to the Sonora Desert of Arizona. Arizona loves them because the saguaro blossom is the state wildflower, but because they're special, they're illegal to hurt, basically. You can't damage them. According to state law, Arizona state law, it's a class 4 felony with a possible 3-year, 9-month maximum in prison or $150,000 in fines.
Holy shit. So it's like my student loans for killing a cactus, right?
Yes, it's insane. Like, to imagine becoming a felon because you're so bored is not the level of critical thinking that anyone is seeking on jobs.com. Like, these 2 dudes were like, hey, what do you want to do? Maybe risk A felony? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, what are you in for?
Do you know what's funny? His roommate who we went with, his name is Jim. Well, his name is
What?
James, but I'm like, it's got to be Jim. This is definitely a Dave and Jim situation.
I feel like I just picked that up. I just imagine a lot of chewing tobacco and a fella named Jim.
It's like, I swear these dudes probably had a couple of, this is getting very judgmental on my part, and I'm, editorializing, but how many 40s do you think that they polished off in the morning when they decided to hop in a car? Also, driving for 40 minutes to shoot a cactus is like some peak boredom.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Every second of that trip, you could have done anything else. You could have gone by a hamburger place, but like, let's just go to the diner, right? Like, there's so many ways that you can go to keep that focus for 40 minutes. I mean, I guess it is 1982, right? Like, because otherwise it would just be like, oh, what's on my phone?
That's true. That is a very good point. It's 1982. They already live in Arizona. Like, there's not that much stuff to do. So I guess driving for 40 minutes is kind of a normal amount of time.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is my Manhattan and non-driving showing, where I'm just like, you're going to get in a car for 40 minutes to shoot a gun at a cactus? You're bored. You're boring.
As if you haven't gone 40 minutes on the New York City subway to do improv. Ooh, it's coming back for you. It's coming back for you.
Shots fired at this saguaro. He got me. Speaking of shots fired, these saguaros, the reason that they're so special and fancy is because they are old. They often have a lifetime of 150 years. And many don't grow those like wild coyote arms, like the two wings up, until they're 75 or 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But they're just basically a stick. And then some of them grow arms. They don't all have arms. The arms are meant to increase the plant's reproductive capacity. They're basically cactus genitals.
Yeah.
But these things are special, and so they're protected.
Okay, so makes sense.
This couple of ding-dong hair sacks decides to come for the cactus, and the cactus retaliates. Apparently, Grundman, our man Dave, shoots 2 rounds into a 27-foot tall saguaro, or saguaro, I think is how you say it, and didn't even finish shouting timber before a 23-foot arm drops and crushes him.
Oh.
He was killed by a 23-foot cactus stick. That's basically how this man died.
I love how you set it up too with like the cactus retaliated. Made me think of Jurassic Park, where it's just like these creatures will defend themselves violently if necessary.
Violently if they're forced.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you shot this cactus's ween off. It's coming for you.
23 feet. I mean, I guess I didn't have any idea how big those things could get.
They're huge. And also, the description of this one, it doesn't seem very well balanced. If it's only 27 feet tall and one of its arms is 23 feet, does it start very low? It's like,
yeah.
Does it extend up higher than the middle shaft? It seems weird to me. And also, how are you standing so close to this cactus with a shotgun? So like, is the muzzle right next to the plant? Like, so he wasn't even going into the desert to practice marksmanship from far away. Like, hey, can you hit a cactus? He's like, what I'm going to do is stand right under this cactus, shoot directly up into it, and see what happens.
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could possibly happen? He couldn't even finish shouting timber, and this thing fell on him.
I'm just so bored. I'm so bored. I've got to take my life into my own hands.
It's so sad. It's truly tragically sad that it was like, you guys couldn't think of anything else to do. And now poor Jim standing there holding what, his 40? The other gun? I guess there was only one gun. He's just staring. He just watched his friend get crushed by a cactus, and he has no cell phone.
That's true.
So he has to jump in the car and find help? Is it even his car?
Oh my gosh.
Does crushed Dave? Oh, I was like, wait a minute. First off, you're shocked. This is tragic. The first thing is like, I gotta run and find help. You're like, the keys are in my crushed friend's pocket. So you have to navigate a cactus and like a friend who might be like screaming in pain. I don't know if he was, hopefully Dave was killed immediately and he didn't have
Yeah.
to suffer, because it just sounds like a terrible experience. That, you know what, Dave, I may he rest in soft peace, because that's a terrible way to go.
Yeah.
So the reason that this thing came to my attention
Mm-hmm.
is because, of course, it made front page news in the Arizona Times.
Yeah.
Now, front page news is also a prayer. I looked at the newspaper for the day where this was featured, and it has a prayer featured as well. And I was like, there's really not much going on in Arizona if you publish your prayers on the front page.
Yeah,
So,
right? That
yeah.
I've never seen that done, like even in like the South, that there would be prayers right on the front there.
Prayers on the front. I mean, it's a short prayer, but it's right there in the corner. Say your prayers.
Prime real estate. I mean, that's top dollar.
It really is. So it's a slow news day if a guy being crushed by a cactus and prayers are leading in the news.
Yeah, seriously.
But I think that front page billing is what got it all the way down to Texas, where the Austin lounge lizards discover it because they wrote a song about our man David Grunman called Saguaro, and it's in their album Creatures from the Black Saloon. It's 1984 album. And these guys are, the best description is their tradition steeped Texas swing fused to Monty Python.
What is that even? That's too many things.
It's too many things, but these basically satire songsters heard about this insane death and are like, we can't pass this up. We gotta make this a song. And it is a good song. I recommend.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it in the podcast. Yeah. I mean, does this mean that band is just like, go out and get me every newspaper in the country and we're going to read it for inspiration? Band meeting, my house.
Exactly. I think that I'm giving a bunch of guff to our poor past man Dave about boredom when these guys are like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to write songs about weird news. So maybe they're the more bored people too. I'm a Monty Python fan. So as soon as I heard these guys were described as Monty Python, I was like, well, you have me. Their song titles are like Gingrich the Newt, The Shallow End of the Gene Pool, Hillbillies in a Haunted House. Like, these guys were writing songs about crazy stuff, and I love it.
That's kind of, it's I want to say it's like Weird Al, but it's not in any way. But like, why isn't there more songs just about a weird happenstance?
I don't even know. I mean, these guys are like folk singery type of dudes, and that doesn't slap as much on the radio.
Yeah, I guess not.
But I loved it. Like when I listened to the Saguaro, I was like, oh, these guys are good. It's like kind of told in a tale style, like Western style. It was great. But the moral of the story is don't shoot a cactus in the dick because it'll kill you.
Don't shoot a cactus in the dick because it'll kill you. That might have to be this episode title.
Yeah. And then a song will be written about your stupidity, so you'll live forever and ever.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for that story. That's phenomenal.
It was a good one. It was a good one. Thank you for letting me share this crazy death of tortured saguaros getting back at their victims.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Mary-Alice, thank you so much for coming on for Weird Deaths episode 1. We have a second episode that we're going to record in the future. So if you're liking this episode, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Let us know. Comment, rate, review, subscribe, do all the good things to let us know. Get the message out that you are enjoying these Weird Death episodes.
Yeah. And where can people find you on social media?
Everything for me for social media is Mary-Alice McNab. My Instagram, my Twitter, which I basically am not on anymore. I'm not doing much on the social these days. I'm a failure.
That's not a failure. That's called taking care of yourself. Social media stresses me out too much at times.
Yes, it's stressful. But I'll be coming back and we're going to be doing monthly shows. So I'm excited for everything reopening.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks again.
Thank you for having me on. Have a wonderful day.
Oh man, that was a lot of fun to make. There's definitely going to be another episode of that, and we'll see from there. But we initially had the idea of having each of us tell 2 stories, but then that started to feel long. So we're just going to save the stories that we have, and I think we're recording in a week from now, which is January 31st. So So more to come if you're liking it. Like I said, this was the season finale, and there's definitely more coming. In the meantime, go back and listen to old episodes you haven't heard yet. And also check out my other podcast called That Gives Me Anxiety. I think there's 17 episodes out now, and I'm going to be going weekly with it starting in March, which is very exciting. And the easy joke is that gives me anxiety. Waka waka. But yeah, it'll be interesting and fun to give that project some room to grow while also continuing to make Death Space Filling the Void. As always, thank you so much for supporting this season, and stay tuned for more. I'm definitely looking forward to what this show has in front of it. And once again, I'd like to mention and thank the sponsors. Spirit Vessel, use the promo code DEATHSPACE, one word, for free shipping on personalized urns and the Celebration of Life ceremony packages. The Cardist Studio, you can use the promo code DEATHPOD, one word, for 10% off all orders. And My Software Tutor, you can use the promo code POD20 for 20% off all orders. Thanks again to all those companies. Well, until we talk, take care of yourself. If you know someone that's grieving, reach out, hold space, and if you're grieving, hang in there. On to season 4.